Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Jim's Armory. I'm Jim. Today, I've got the P226 XFive on the operating table for complete disassembly. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. All right, so let's get started by showing that we are clear. No round in the chamber. Physically check that. We have no magazine. Refocus. Look away for a minute. I look back again. We have no round in the chamber. This gun is safe to work on. So let's start by getting the slide off. So with the X5 version, there's this little clever lock right here that keeps you from accidentally pushing that gas pedal down with your finger and having the front of your gun fly off while you're shooting. Push this little thing in and then back, down, slide comes off. So let's start here. We'll take the guide rod assembly out. This is a multi-stage guide rod, so there are 2 springs, a cup, a smaller spring, and the guide rod. Barrel, of course, just lifts right out. And now we want to get the firing pin out. In order to do that, there's a roll pin for it. In order to do that, we need to get the extractor out. In order to do that, roll pin is right here, we need to take the side off. So that is a T10. All right, with the screws out, this just slides right off like that. Push it out of the way here. And now this pin, roll pin right here, is sort of half obfuscated, half blind, covered by part of the slide. So it is perfectly round up here. It means it needs to go out this direction. So I have a special tool here. This is a punch, but it's split in half. So resist the urge to just get a smaller punch and try to pound it in there. Likely it'll just get stuck in the hole of the roll pin and probably snap off in there, and then you will be very sad. That'll be a very bad day for you. So just go through the extra trouble of finding one of these or grind one down yourself. All right. I feel it moving. And we are coming out right there. So just going to line this up with a hole in my bench block here. And there we go. And I'm just going to hold that with my thumb, pull this out, and we'll have 3 parts come out of here. We've got the extractor itself, we've got the spring and a rubber dampener goes inside the spring. We'll set these off to the side over here with the roll pin. All right, now we are clear to take the firing pin out, except we have another one of these half-blind roll pins here. Perfectly round on this side, not on this side, so we'll use our special punch again. Just carefully give that a few taps. Make sure the punch is lined up with the hole. And here we go. We are on our way. Okay, there it is. And over here. Now, my firing pin is partially being held in place by my punch. However, we've got a firing pin safety block right here that's also holding it in. So as I pull this out, you'll see the firing pin kind of pop out. Oh, there it goes, but it's still not going to come all the way out because of this. So to get that out, we need to push this down with a fingernail. You have to push it pretty far in. And Try my thumb. There we go. I've always believed a man shouldn't have fingernails, but you need at least one. Now, do not ever grab a spring like this and yank it off. You're going to stretch it out and you're going to change the tension of that spring, possibly causing the fire pin not to completely go forward. So the way you do this is just notice the way that the spring is going and then grab it here and twist it in the same direction and pull. And that'll sort of loosen it up and get it off of there. Actually, you want to go the opposite direction, this way. But we'll leave these together. Put that over there with its pin. And now, this piece here is going to have a small spring. You can see it already, right there. There it is. So if you look down inside here, see if I can get this where you can see it, inside this hole, there is a smaller hole drilled down inside, and that's where that spring goes, down in there. There you go. You can kind of see it there. And the way this works, the firing pin sits in the gun. Let me get oriented here. So the plunger goes like this, up into the slide. And the firing pin has these little grooves right here. Sorry, it goes that direction. Imagine this up here. We're looking inside now. So this little piece sits on a spring, and until the lever, the safety lever, which we'll see later when we start taking the trigger apart, until that lever hits this firing pin can't go in. Even if the hammer falls, it can't move. The only way to get that to move is to pull the trigger and engage this block, firing pin block, and push it up. That's what makes a gun like this drop safe. This is very similar to like a Series 80 on a 1911 or a 2011. That's how that works. And we are done. That is a complete disassembly of the slide. We could take the front side off, but it's dovetailed in. I do have a tool for that, and I have a video where I actually have replaced this on this exact model of gun. I put a suppressor height sight on there, but for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to take that off. It doesn't really serve us any purpose. Unless it's damaged, you don't really need to take that off. Let's set all this stuff off to the side here. Make some room. Clean up our mess. All right, let's move on to this. So we'll start by taking off the grip panels. And there's a little rubber shim in here to help with any vibration between the magwell and the grip. We'll see that in just a second. This is also a T10, which I happen to have teed up right here. Ha ha ha. All right. There we go. There we go. And we'll carefully take this off. And you'll see right here, it's a little tiny strip of rubber. I don't know how necessary this is, but if you can save it at all, save it, because it goes there. All right, same thing on the other side. All right, this one is still stuck to the grip. I'm going to leave it there. It's a good place for it. Remind me when I put these back on to double check that, if you don't mind. All right, so let's just take a look at what we have here. This just slides off, by the way, at this point. So magwell off. Let's put that over here with these pieces. So what we have here is a hammer strut, the spring, and the keeper down here at the bottom. This is similar to a 1911, a little bit different in that the 1911 is going to have a mainspring housing, which comes off all in one piece, and then your strut will be attached to the hammer and sort of hanging there and flopping around when you take that apart. We've got safeties similar to a 1911, but a little bit different in how they're held in. The spring is right here. So it just compresses a little bit at the apex of this click right there and provides that nice tactile feel. Very, very nice actually feeling on this gun. Really, really good. We've got our slide catch right here, takedown lever here. Trigger is kind of hidden underneath this piece right here. So we'll start with the safeties, much like we would on a 2011 at this point. And this is a 2.5 millimeter Allen. Now this screw is not going to necessarily come out all the way, so we're just going to turn it until it's loose. About 10 turns or so, that should do it. Now the other side of the safety, I'm just going to put my thumb here. The other side of the safety is already fallen off. That's the threaded hole that screw goes into right there. So we'll just put this here. And now keeping our thumb on this spring, move the safety up, grab that screw, and just sort of rip it out of there. And there it is. Now, the spring is no longer under tension, no risk of it flying off of here and finding a portal to another dimension, which will happen if you don't do this correctly. Believe me, it does happen. It's real. Now this thumb safety is going to just come right off. So put that over there. And now at this point, we can turn our attention to the trigger. We'll start with the trigger spring. I don't get the science behind this, but the really only good way to do this is to grab it from this side with a thumbnail or a pinky nail or something and just pry it up. Oh, there it goes. Almost found that portal to another dimension. All right, and with that off, we can turn our attention to the takedown. So it just twists out like this. And now we can pull this piece out here. And this is a metal trigger housing. This spring is what holds the takedown lever in. It comes off very easily, by the way, so don't lose it. Otherwise, you will be on the telephone waiting on hold for Sig to send you a new one. All right. And now everything is being held in with this pin right here, which you can see is already walking its way out. It's loose, it's not tight in there. It has a flat head slot on this side. And if you look at the way this is oriented, there's a slot right here, and that's what catches the, where did I put it? The takedown lever, which I showed at the beginning of the video. That's their way of locking it in place so that you don't accidentally push it down when you're using this gas pedal. So I'm just going to push it out this direction. It doesn't really matter which way, just pick away and commit. There we have it. Now the trigger will not move straight up because the trigger bar here is going to hit the frame. So just push the trigger, I'm pushing with my thumb, or just push the trigger to the side and kind of push it up past that. And we're going to try to keep all these pieces together. If it all falls apart right now, don't worry. We're going to go over all the pieces in a bit and see how they go together and how they work. So no problem. In fact, let's do that now. Why not? So first, we've got our trigger bar. It just rides on this little post right here on the side of the trigger. Take that off. And then we've got the trigger itself. You might notice there's a 2.5 millimeter Allen right here. That is because this trigger is adjustable. It's actually adjustable 4 ways. 3 ways are actually allowed according to SIG in the manual. 1 is not, and that is the pre-travel. No reason to take this off, though. That's just for adjusting the trigger back and forth to, if you have a longer finger or bigger hands, maybe you want the trigger more forward. Nice feature. Here we have what is officially known as the trigger doodad. This actually has something to do with adjusting the tension or weight of the trigger, along with this screw in the front of, we'll call this the trigger thingamajig. I do not know the names. I'm sorry about that. I think this screw right here is the one you're not supposed to mess with, which adjusts the pre-travel. You can, it's just not allowed by the factory. All right. So I should mention the doodad actually has a spring that comes out, and it's different on one side. It's slightly bent on this side and straight on the other side. There you go, trigger. And you can see my slide release is just falling out at this point, so that's fine. There's nothing holding it in. We took the pin out, which was this one with the flathead screw in it. Now there is another piece to the trigger. I've had this gun apart several times. In fact, I hope you can appreciate that I have recorded this video now 3 times. This is my 3rd time. The other 2 I threw away because they were either blurry, not enough light. One of them I forgot to put on my lapel mic, so the sound was really bad, and I want to give you guys nothing but the best quality. All right, so this is for you. This is my 3rd time. I put a little grease on this so that it wouldn't just fall out on its own. And that grease is really, holding it in until it's not. So we'll call this the trigger spacer, shim. I don't know. It goes right here or somewhere on the floor near that portal to another dimension. Okay, I give up. I'll put it in when I put the trigger back. All right, so next we're going to take out the extractor, the firing pin safety lever right here, the sear and sear spring. But first, we want to make this hammer go forward. And to do that, just put your thumb on it, hold it, and right here, is that little thing right there? That's actually the sear. That's what the trigger bar pulls on. So I'm just going to push the hammer back a little bit, pull that forward, let the hammer go. All right, it's going to relieve some of the pressure. Now there's a little tiny spring, which you can see, hopefully, right here. And that is just going under a little leg that sticks out from the extractor. I just want to push that to the other side. There it goes. So it's loose now. That'll keep everything from blowing up in your hand and flying across the room and finding that portal to another dimension. All right, 3/16. Just going to push this pin out of the other side. And there it goes. Somewhere there. I'm getting a giant pile of parts on the table here. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. All right, and now this is all just going to kind of fall out here. I want to try to do it carefully though. So let's see if I can get the safety thingy. Maybe not. Nah, you know what? Let's just let it all fall out on the table. I'll explain it later. There we go. Just sort of shake it like a bag of marbles and just let it all fall out. So here is our safety lever. Here's our extractor. This is the little thing the spring was on right here. We'll go over that in more detail when we put it back together, if I can figure out how it goes back together. This is the sear and the sear spring, which is the same, both sides, no difference. Okay, put all that over there. Now, regroup again, put our tools back, try to keep our head together. All right, now we want to get this main spring off and get the hammer strut out of there. So there's a very scientific way that I like to employ to do this, and that is I just kind of put my hand here and yank on the spring. There we go. Works every time. There's probably a better way. I don't know what it is. This works for me. So we'll call this our main spring anchor, keeper, retainer. And then this is a little bit of a departure from a 1911 in that the strut will come right out. And here's the main spring. I think it's about a 17 to 20 pounder, pretty stiff. I'll just put this here, And now the only thing really left is the mag release and the hammer. So for the hammer, we'll take our 1/8 pin, and this pin is not in there tight either. It just slides right out of the other side. There it goes. on the table. That over here. And the hammer, just sort of push it forward and lift it out like that. And the reason we need to push it forward is right inside here is a little spring. I don't know if you can see that right there. And a little plastic piece. I'm not going to take it out because it's under tension and you have to push it down inside. It's really awkward to do. I regretted it the first time I did it and decided it just doesn't need to come out. The pin is right here. If you want to, go for it. Have fun getting it back in. It's not terrible, but it's doable, just not today. All right, that leaves the mag release. So to take that out, we're going to look at the other side. Now watch when I push it out. You see that small hole right there. You see that little hole. So what I'm going to do is stick this in there and I'm going to kind of twist it like this. And that's going to help lift that piece out. Let's see if I can do it in this awkward angle. It's really only for you. I would never hold it this way, but here we go. Oh, there it goes. You see it? That's it right there. Pull that out. And the way this works is it just has a little, we'll call it a leaf spring on there. It's a plastic piece, so be careful. But what we're doing with this is we're kind of going in and pushing that and then scraping it, pushing it out at the same time. Otherwise, if you just push something in there, great, you can push this little spring. Now how are you going to get this out? You still need some other way. You need as many arms as an octopus to do that. So this little dental tool works great. Any little sharp thing, a big thick sewing needle would probably work. That's it. That's how you do it. And out of here will come the mag release and a spring and some grease that I put there to keep the spring from falling off. So this little spring right here, there's really nothing holding it in. It just sort of sits there. I should point out at this point, this is ambidextrous. So inside there is a little, about halfway through. Let's see, I don't know if you can see in there. I'm hitting it right now. So that's what that spring rides on. So to move it to the other side, you just simply put it in this way. Let the spring hit that little bar in the middle. And there you go, lefty. Look at that. Great. You can't do that with a 2011. Except for Sig's P211, you actually can. Anyway, we're done. This is it. Take it all, soak it all in. Let's regroup here. Let's clean up. Can't stress enough how important it is to be clean and neat. Keep all your shit together. There we go. Okay, drink it in. This is a modern hammer-fired pistol. Quite a departure from the 1911 design, which has way, I'm going to say it a few more times, way fewer parts. I've got a few videos on those. I've got some other guns to tear apart. I might make a video today. I might tear apart the Staccato. I think everybody's going to shit themselves when they see that and take every last little piece off of a $4,300 gun. Or $4,400, I don't remember. It's not even real money at this point. Okay, so let's go back together. We'll start with the mag release. Put it in on the righty side. And now to get it in, you kind of do the opposite of what you did to get it out. Push it out like that, so it's kind of protruding. And slide this in and listen for that satisfying click. Listen. Oh, yes! That is awesome. Okay, so much more to go. I don't know why I'm feeling so positive at this stage in the game. We're barely started. What's next? Hammer. So this little spring down inside catches this little roll pin. So there's a roll pin through here, much like a 1911, only instead of being attached to the strut, it's just there. And so we're going to catch that little spring on that roll pin. And to do that, you just simply kind of hook it up in there. It's easy to do. You'll know when you got it on there. You can feel it. See a little bit of springy. All right, and now let's get our pin, hammer pin, and just slide it in. It can fall out. It's pretty loose, so just keep an eyeball on that. Don't let it go anywhere. So many options. What do you want to do next? How do you guys feel about, why don't we do, it's probably my least favorite operation here. We're going to put back in these pieces in this order. We're going to start with our safety lever, and then our sear, and then the sear spring, and then the ejector, and then this annoying little pin. So I'm going to take my 3/16. It's actually slightly larger than this. I don't have the right size. I wish that I did, because I think it would be a little bit easier, but I'm just going to use my punch to sort of guide everything in there. So I'm going to start, I'm going to have to do this down here where I can see, and then I'll share it with you once I get it in there. Oh, criminy shit. All right, let's try that again. That one on the floor did not find the portal. It's just down here. Again, cleanliness. Okay. This might be a little bit easier with the hammer up. There we go. All right, so that is the correct orientation there. And if you've ever tried to put your slide on and had it hit this thing, you're very familiar with how it looks. That's how it goes, just like that. Now for the sear. So the correct orientation for this is the side with the leg. Remember, it goes on the right-hand side. That's where the trigger bar catches it. And it's got these funny little protrusions here. These all go towards the right side of the gun. So I'm going to pull my punch out just enough to get that on there. Again, this is not how I would prefer to do it. I'm doing this so that I can show you. This is very awkward for me right now. Okay. With my punch all the way in, I feel safe. Not safe. Safe. Not safe. Safe. All right, we need to go to the not safe and put the sear spring in. It goes in the middle of the sear. It doesn't matter which way, it's the same, both sides. So I'm going to slide my punch out a little bit. You know, I'm going to do this down on the table here. This is very, very awkward. I can kind of hold my punch with the table, and boom, safe. Safe position. It's in. Okay, last but not least, ejector. A gun would not work without this. So you can kind of see the orientation here. This opening on the bottom will rest on the hammer pin, and the other hole will, that's where my punch is going to go through. So again, I'm going to kind of go down to the table here and let my punch kind of fall back. I need to crank my head around a certain way, hold my tongue a certain way, and oh, please. Oh, God, safe. Got it. All right, so now, very technical part of the operation here. This pin has one side that is tapered a little bit more than the other side, just a little. So it's going to be easier to push that end in, especially since my punch is not exactly the right size. You can see it kind of moving around in there. So I'm just going to hold the punch kind of like a cigarette, I guess. Sorry for that reference. I don't think anybody smokes anymore, right? So I'm going to just push my pin out. All right, I'm going to kind of switch to my thumb here and just wiggle. Oh my God, I actually got it, and I can't believe that. First try. Great. Now we need to get the sear spring back on that little leg, which is right here. And there's the spring. If you can see that, this guy right here needs to go. This is a pain. The screwdriver has a little chip in the end, which is almost perfect for this. I should get a file out, make that chip a little more pronounced. Oh, I got it. There we go. Okay. I don't know if it helps. This angle maybe. Sorry, I hit the camera. That little spring is now under that little leg. And so at this point, we can even test to make sure it's engaging with the hammer correctly. So remember that little lever on the side here. We can just pull it with our finger. It's like pulling the trigger. So my hammer is kind of stuck. Pull the sear. And there we go. There's our first position. Second position. That first position is what keeps the hammer, it keeps the hammer from being able to slam forward without a trigger pull. So you can't turn the gun around and whack it on the ground. Probably break the hammer before it's going to go forward. Okay. So we could do the hammer spring next. We could do it last. We could do the trigger next. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of like to have a little tension on my hammer at this point. So we need our hammer to come forward. There we go. It can be in that first click. That's fine. And now this is going to engage that little roll pin that goes through the hammer. So to get it in there, we're going to kind of come in through here and angle it back. And I can actually see where that roll pin is. I don't know if you can, but I can kind of see it. So I can tell that I'm there. I'm going to just hold this in place with my finger. Just keep tension on it. And we're going to put this retainer slash keeper slash whatever it's called on there. And this is tricky. I'm just going to try to hold the spring steady with my fingers so it doesn't move side to side. Just push. And that's it. So I just pushed it. You can see it kind of just goes in these little hooks right there, and that's it. And we should be under tension now. And we're not. You know what that means. It came off of the roll pin. So that's why you check this now and not later. So we're going to go through that scientific process again of pulling this off. And I'm going to come up again through the bottom. We need to release that trigger. Hammer. Hammer up. That is not the right place. That is. Okay, I'm just kind of moving it with my finger to make sure it's moving the hammer strut, and it is now. All right, again, line this up. I'm just going to push my finger while holding that spring up. We got crooked. Damn it. There we go. A little more. Got it. Okay, now we're good. All right, so don't let the hammer slam forward. It's fine when the slide's on there and the firing pin on. Without it though, it could damage the sear. It could damage the hammer. So just let it go with your finger. There we go. Perfect. All right, so let's see if we can figure out how this trigger goes. So we have our trigger, you might remember, our trigger thingamajig and our trigger doodad. So let's take the doodad and the thingamajig first. So spring goes in like that with the curved portion out, and then it's going to ride on this little post right here. Sorry, this way. Remember, this is the front of the gun where this 2mm Allen screw is. That's the front of the gun. So we just push this on that post like that. Make sure that this is so that that screw hits it. It needs to be here, not here. That is wrong. It needs to go on this side like that. There we go. Okay, and now we take this assembled piece consisting of our doodad spring, and our thingamajig. And we're going to take our trigger. Now it has a little post right here. That little post needs to be like that. The spring goes under it, not like that. That is not right. Don't do that. Do that. Get it? Come on. Oh, now it doesn't want to cooperate with me at all. Move it with my fingernail. There we go, like that. And just let it kind of fold all the way down like this. Okay, now while holding that all together, we should take our trigger bar and put it right here. Okay, now we can set that down just for a second. This piece. Would have been better to put that in first, honestly. Let's see if there's still enough grease on there to hold it in. I'm going to use tweezers because I can't, there's no way I can get my big fat fingers down inside there. Beautiful. Perfect. All right, now remember, we kind of went at an angle, like this way. So I'm going to stick it back in at that angle. Maybe I can hold it in this awkward way for you, the viewer, to enjoy. Okay, I'm going to try to stick this in here and out of this hole right here, like that. But I have to go at this strange angle to get it to clear the frame. And there we go. That's all kind of loose. You can see right here, this piece kind of fits in this little cutout right there. And that is it. And our trigger bar is free, not bound up on anything over here. And now I need to line it up. So I'm going to use my 3/16 first. I can kind of see I'm not very well lined up. Now I am. I'll switch to my 1/8. Okay. It's even a little bit bigger than that. I wonder what size that is. Let's try something a little bit bigger. Sorry, I'm experimenting while you're watching. Let's try a 9/64. See how that fits. Still a little bigger than that. .532. Ooh, nice. Still a tad bigger than that, but I'm sure my next one's going to be too big. They always are. All right, so 9/32 it is. Now before we put this pin back in with the slot in it, we need to put our, you know what? Let's wait a second for the slide catch. Let's go ahead and put this pin in. So like I always do, I'm going to use my punch as a guide. Remember the flat head piece, but the little flat head slot needs to go on the right side of the gun. So I'm going to put it in this direction. Just kind of try to line it up with the punch. This is a very awkward angle. Again, I'm doing it for you. All right, we got it in. All right, and it's almost in the correct orientation. It doesn't really matter at this point, but I'm going to put this flat that way, and our little groove over here is at the top like it should be. But I need to push it just a little bit out to make room for our slide catch release. There we go. And that's going to go in just like this. I should point out this is an aftermarket one. I bought this from sigguy.com. It sticks out quite a bit, makes it a little bit easier to hit the slide release. So we'll just line it up and push and through there and just let it fall down. That's all there is to it. Not complicated at all. The next step, unfortunately, is a little bit complicated. That's this piece. So it needs to slide down on that pin we just put in at an angle that approximates the angle cut you see here. Now you'll notice the slot, it's a little bit thinner right here and a little bit thicker. It's more round up here, and you can see it's a little restricted here. Now remember, our pin, it has two flat sides on the bottom, as well as this groove over here for the takedown lever. So what we want to do is turn it so that those flats are kind of at this same angle and allow me to push it in. So let's see how good I am. I'm going to turn this at an angle about like that. Approximates that same angle. Make sure our little spring stays in on the side, and also another tip, make sure that the slide catch is against the frame, not here, okay? We need this little space right here. That's where this piece goes. So here we go. Oh dear, it's not working at all. I think my little spring fell out and got stuck somewhere. Well, that is not, there we go. Okay, perfect, went right in. I just needed to get my slide catch out of the goddamn way. So there we go, it is in. Next step is the takedown lever. So you'll notice we have a spring sticking out right here. And you'll notice you've got a flat portion on here. That is to assist you, my friend. Put it like this. Catch that spring and twist, and it will move it out of the way for you so that you can get it the rest of the way in. And just kind of wiggle and twist. And we'll leave it in the down position because that's where we need to be later anyway. All right. Now we can focus our attention on the trigger bar spring. So it goes this direction right here, and to get it on, you just put, oh, sorry. One side is a little more complicated looking than the other side. Let's see if you can see this here. This side's sort of gnarly looking with an extra little bend in it right there. This side is more kind of curved. So that curved bit is what helps get it back in. So we'll take a complicated piece and put it through the trigger bar. This other little piece, just line it up somewhere close to the hole, keeping it flat against the gun, and just let it go in there. It'll find its way home. It wants to go home. It's where it belongs. So we should have trigger action now. You can kind of see how that trigger works. It engages the sear right there. It rides on this pin. So if this pin is too far towards the other side, it won't work properly. You want to have it flush on this side, sticking out over here. Easy, not a big deal to fix. It's easy enough. And maybe even putting the safety back on will push it anyway. But that's where it needs to be. And we should be able to, again, don't let it slam forward. Use your finger here. Yep, we're good. See that? Beautiful. That's what we want to see. Function check as much as you can along the way. You do not want to get this thing all put together and find out your hammer doesn't work, or find out you have no safety, or there's some spring left over on the table. Speaking of safeties, that's going to be next. So take the side that is threaded versus the side with the hole. The side with the hole is the right side. This is the left side. I mean, the right side for left-handed people. This ambidextrous stuff is confusing. The right-hand side is threaded. It goes on first. It has a post. That post goes in this hole. There we go. We want it in the up position, as if the safety is engaged. I'm going to hold it there with my other finger, and I'm going to drop this one in place on this side. Now, for this little guy, he just sits on this little post right here. That is it. And with the safety up, you have the most clearance that you can possibly have. If you're halfway down, the spring covers the hole too much. See that? Just put the safety in the on position, move the spring, and just force the screw in past the spring. All right? Do not force it into the other safety. I missed, so I'm going to have to pull this out a little bit. There we go. Safety's in the up position. And now just light pressure. Don't want to cross thread this. Just go slow and make sure it's going in the hole. I got lucky it went in first try. Sometimes you have to kind of align them a little bit to get it to catch the threads. Don't force, just keep turning. And now that it's in place, I'm going to tighten it just snug. I don't actually know the torque spec on this. I could not find it. I can tell you for just about everything else, but not this piece. All right, so now we've got a safety. And you may notice that unlike 1911, the safety will go up even when the hammer's not down, or the hammer's not back. So hammer back, safety on, trigger does not release the hammer. So the safety is working. That is good. And you can see here without my finger on the trigger, I cannot pull the hammer all the way forward. My finger on the trigger, hammer goes. Release. There's our safety. And there's our second position. Safety position. Safety position. Second position. All the way cocked. All right. Man, you guys are doing great. So at this point, I'm just going to straighten up my tools again. And now I've got this, what is this? 5/32 in my arsenal. That's interesting. Not used to seeing that there. Little screwdriver, tweezers, push block. All right. You guys ready to put magwell? Slides on, like so. And now remember our silly little thingies. Little rubber shim goes right there. Shit. All right. And then just sort of carefully put this in place. Oh God, it's got to go under some stuff here. Oh, got it. Didn't move. All right, we don't need this anymore. We need to go back to our T10. Now, on a 1911 and most 2011s, the screws go into a little T-nut, little insert. So if you cross-thread it, strip it out, whatever, you can just get a new one and you're fine. These thread right into the frame. Very not cool. So do not tighten them very tight at all. Worst that could happen is a screw falls out the palm of your hand while you're shooting or something. I've never had them fall out. They're never very tight. So just my experience, I've worked on a few of these and they strip out so easily, it's not even funny. So I just don't mess with it anymore. You could maybe put some Loctite on there at the risk of, again, also stripping it out. So just don't over tighten these at all. And just keep an eye on things. I've had so many things come loose on guns, and every time I think, God damn it, I should be checking this stuff every few hundred rounds, and I just still haven't learned that lesson, but maybe you can. Take my advice. More than 40 years of shooting. I've made my share of mistakes and learned my share of lessons, that's for sure. Okay, we're done here. We got a lot of parts left over. I hope none of them go in here. I guess we'll find out. Let's put that off to the side. Bring our slide over here. And it looks like this thing is in pieces. I don't know what to do. Where do we start? Probably with this little guy, this little guy. I'm going to put a little dab of grease on there to hold that spring in place so it doesn't fall off. That's enough. There we go. Good shit, by the way. And then we just drop this. Remember our little hole that we have down inside of here. So it's so hard to show you all the details with a camera. But there's a small hole that the spring goes down into. So, and it fell off. Oh, good God. All right, there we go. Like so. All right, now it's got to be pushed in quite a bit to get the firing pin to go past there. So remember, the flattened parts go down. The one in the front is for the roll pin. The one in the back is for the firing pin safety. So it goes like this. And I got it. I am pushing down far enough, so that's good. And there we go. We're captured. You hear that little click? I had to push it a little bit further. And my little firing pin safety plunger kind of popped into place, and it is positively locked in. Now, we cannot just go pounding away right now because that pin is going to hit the firing pin. Hear that? firing pin needs to come a little bit more forward. So watch this. I'm going to push the firing pin forward. See that? That's where we need to be. So basically, this needs to be pushed in pretty much all the way. So I'm going to get the roll pin started. Sometimes I like to see if one end or the other is kind of boogered up, I'll put that end in first. They both look okay to me. Just a few taps, just enough so it doesn't fall out. I don't want to hit that firing pin right now. And then I need to hold this, and I'm just going to lean against the table here, push the firing pin in, and we're clear. And I can test by using my thumbnail. I'm going to push the firing pin safety in, and I'm going to use a roll pin to push on the back. And we should see, again with these angles, you guys. All right, you see it come out of the front? You see it now? Oh, there it goes. God damn it. I can't do it. You see it? Well, anyway, trust me. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right, so it's free, unobstructed. I'm free to pound away on our pin here. I'm going to get it close. I don't want to hit my slide. This is just paint. So 1/8 inch roll pin punch, just until it stops. And now if we look on this side over here, you can see it right there. It is all the way in. Can't go any further. It's bottomed out in that hole, so that's perfect. All right. And one more function check. I'm going to just push the plunger. Do you see that? God, you guys, I want to show you so badly. This is so awkward. I can't see what I'm doing. There it is. There it is. There's a firing pin. Okay, so it works. God, this is so stupid. Okay, ejector. So we had a handful of pieces for it. We've got the roll pin, ejector, spring, and doodad. And I am going to put a little bit of grease on this too because it is falling out of there way too easily. There we go. That'll keep it. All right. Now there's a little hole back here where it goes. It's going to drop it into that hole. There we go. Make sure it's in there. It definitely is. Okay. Keep a clean workspace. Clean hands. Okay, extractor. Pretty obvious how that goes in. That's the business end. It goes towards the chamber. Just push that in, put a little bit of pressure, and then just look through the top. Stick a punch in there. It's the same 1/8 inch punch. And make sure we can get in there. Yep, that's good. Get this started. Be very careful not to hit the slide right there, all right? You'll fuck it up. So we're in, that's good. I'm gonna finish it off with the 1/8 inch roll pin punch. I keep using that term, maybe you don't know what that is. It's got a little ball on the end that helps center it in that roll pin. You use the wrong size, you use the wrong kind of punch, you'll just fuck the roll pin up. You don't want that. All right, still moving. That seems pretty solid right there. And again, I can see right there, it is all the way in. There's no space. It's bottomed out against this rail right here. It's a little more than flush on the top, but that's fine. That's how it was before anyway. All right, next, rear sight plate. It has a little tongue doohickey on this side, And there's a little slot for it right there. Slide it in. And these are T10, which I have locked and loaded. Pun intended. Okay. These in there. These should be torqued to 15 inch-pounds. It's another thing I've learned over the years. If you know the torque spec, use it. Don't guess. Don't over tighten things. Don't break things. Have shit fall out on you. Okay, 15. There we go. That's good. There we go. Tools out of my way. We're in the home stretch, guys. All right, barrel, easy. If you field strip, you know how to do this. With our multi-stage, two-stage, whatever. Same on both sides. This spring doesn't matter which way it goes. You can actually see it's been ground on both sides. That's interesting. It's a little rough. Okay, and then this cup, it goes facing up like this. This goes in the cup. All right, and then the rest is obvious. You don't know how to field strip, you should not be attempting anything in this video. That's for goddamn sure. Okay, that's it. Back on the gun. Remember what I said about that little trigger safety right there, lever. Push that lever down. All right, here we're back. It's another thing. It's hard for me to get used to these heavy freaking springs in these things compared to a 2011. Okay, back forward, and then we can go up just a little bit and then push this pin from the other side and let that catch down in there. And let's just double check. Did a bullet somehow jump into this barrel while it was sitting unattended on the table? Definitely not. We are clear. Still no magazine. And checking again, we are still clear. Boom. That's it, guys. Here. There, that's the pretty side. Hope you enjoyed that video. I got a lot more of these to come. I've got, like I said, I'm itching to tear apart the staccato just for the shock and awe factor of it. I think people will freak out seeing parts fly all over my little room in here. I can see now a little detent maybe bouncing off the wall and hitting the floor, and then the rest of the video is just me on the floor on my hands and knees with my glasses looking for it. Anyway, stay tuned for that. Please subscribe. I'm new here on YouTube. I've got a lot of guns, a lot of access to guns, and I'm just crazy enough to take them all apart, see how they work. I'm kidding. I do know what I'm doing, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. So I hope to see you again. Thanks. Till next time.